Okay, scholars, so today we're going to need a piece of paper. If you have watercolor paper, that's great, but if not, just good thick drawing paper. We're going to have our watercolors. We need water, of course. You saw the paintbrush already. We might need some tape, some salt. This is just table salt, a pen and a pencil, and maybe an eraser. We'll see. Okay, to start with, we are going to draw some wishes. Okay, they're not really wishes. They're called dandelions. We're going to start with a dot, and we're going to do 3 of these. And we want to sort of spread them out like a triangle. Now, you really should be using a Sharpie because a Sharpie is not going to get messed up by the watercolors. If you use a regular marker, then it's going to smear. From the dots, we're going to draw some little lines. We basically want to make them the same length as they go around. We're kind of making a circle. At the ends of these lines, you're going to put little dots. All right? So see, if I drew a line around it, I would have a circle shape. Same thing over here. I would try not to draw them exactly the same. You want them all to be interesting, so they need to be a little bit different from each other. Maybe not exactly the same size, maybe not exactly the same amount of these little spokes coming out from the center. I'll give this one 6 instead of 5. All right, these are going to be our little wishes, our dandelions. Now in between these big ones, we are going to draw smaller little spokes. But again, you don't have to put one in every single space, and they don't have to all be exactly the same. You can have some a little bit longer, some a little bit shorter. You can even have 2 in between there like that. So you don't have to be exactly the same. They don't have to be symmetrical. We are just going to make this as interesting as possible. Let's do this one. Little dots. Okay, now from the center, I'm just going to give the center a little bit of bulk by drawing little shape around the middle. So it looks like it has a middle where all of those little spokes are coming out from, basically. They have to have something to attach to. So I'm basically just drawing a little curved line in between each one of the spokes. Okay? They're going to blow in that direction. We're going to pretend like some wind came along. So we're going to have some little pieces of the dandelion, like the wind blew them and it's carrying those little wishes away into the distance. So you want them to sort of spin around in the air. You don't want them all going exactly in the same direction, but they are blowing away from you. So you shouldn't have them covering the 3 dandelions that we just made, right? They should be blowing off into the distance. I don't want to do too many. I want just enough. Sort of trailing off the page. Okay, that looks good. I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to put in some stems. I'm just going to do a single line. They're just going to curve a little bit and go right off the page. Just like that. Okay? All right, that's it for our drawing. Now we're going to use some of those new watercolor techniques that we learned about. So to start with, we want to do a wet on wet And we also want to do a sticker resist. Now, I don't have any round stickers. How about you? No? Okay, so we're going to make our own sticker. I'm hoping you have some blue tape. If you don't have blue tape, then maybe you have some masking tape. That would work too. Now, this tape is not wide enough. This is not going to work for me. So I am actually making it layered on top of each other. You can see I'm stacking it so it's on top of each other. I'm not going to press it too hard onto my table, but I definitely want the pieces to stick to each other. And I'm going to draw a circle that is about the size of my wish on my paper. Now you might need some help with this. This is sort of complicated here. And I do have another option for you. If this is too hard and you can't get this to work, or you don't have a parent or a grown-up who can help you with this part of it, then don't worry. I have a second idea. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But if you can make this work, it's a nice little trick to know. Okay, they're sticking together. That's what I was trying to get to happen. And now I'm just going to cut the circle. Be careful, don't get those fingers. I'm going to cut the circle out. Oh, get rid of this extra. And now I'm going to take one of my wishes and I'm going to cover it up with this sticker. I'm pressing down. I want it to stay and I don't want it to leak. We'll see. We'll see how we do. All right, I have two more to make. Now while I'm making these, I want to tell you, if this is too hard or you don't have the right kind of tape, your other option is to just go ahead and use your pencil, draw a circle around the wish, and then you just don't paint in that circle. You just have to be very, very careful when you go around the edges, okay? But if you can try this, if you can give this a shot, that would be fantastic. But there is always another option to get the same effect. All right, here we go. Time to paint. All right, my watercolors are still wet, so I don't need to add too much water to them. Just a little bit. Again, we're not going to use the black and brown. Now you have some choices. Now remember we had our warm color scheme. You could do that. We have the cool color scheme. You could do that. Or you can do colors that are in a family together. So you could do blue and green and yellow. Those would mix well together. You could do red, orange, and yellow. Those would go well together. You could do purple, red, and blue because they're in a family. You use red and blue to make purple. So choose 3 colors that are either warm or cool or in the same family. Now this is the wet on wet technique. So the first thing you do is you just grab clean water and you put some on your paper and then you start to just drop, basically dot, your watercolor paint on. No rhyme or reason, just in that wet area, you go ahead and put some on there and let the water just take it and move it around. Grab another color. Start to fill in all of the little gaps. Let them bleed together and blend. You're going to get that sort of really interesting tie-dye effect. It's going to look really pretty. All right, and I'm going to add red because red and blue are purple, so I'm going to just use a family today. I like this little pop of red in there. Okay, I'm going to go section by section, and I'm going to work my way around this paper, and I am going to cover the entire paper. Every once in a while, if I don't see that the colors are blending together very nicely, they're just sort of staying in their own spaces, then I'm going to go ahead and grab more water and just put some water on it. So you might see me do that once in a while. But just section by section, move around the page. All right. I am really, really happy with this. I think this looks absolutely beautiful. It's kind of crazy, but it's also just really neat. Okay, now quick. While this is still wet, it has to be wet, you're going to take a pinch of salt and you're going to sprinkle it on your page. And then you're going to grab another pinch of salt. And you keep doing that until you have salt on every part of your page. Now remember this technique, this one will pick up some of the water, and with it, it's going to pick up some of the paint, and it just makes these really, really beautiful patterns. Don't make a little mountain of salt. You don't want to have one big mountain in the middle. Just sprinkle it around. Okay, now it has to dry. This time you do have to set this aside. It does have to dry all the way before we can go on to the next part. Okay, once it's dry, now we can move on. You're going to see all these beautiful patterns made by the salt. It has a super cool effect. I love it. Okay, you can brush your salt off gently. You want to be careful. Sometimes it sticks and you don't want to tear your paper. So if it's sticking, just leave it alone. But if you can brush it off easily, go ahead. And now it's time to pull these stickers off. See how we did. They are not the easiest to get off, but they will peel off. There we go. Oh yeah, look how cool that is. That looks so good. I think this one leaked. Let's see. I think it came through the seam a little bit. Yeah, it came through the seam. That's okay. It still looks really good. I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be perfect to be cool. This one too. This one's still wet under here. Okay, so the good thing about this, I mean, it can be a happy accident. We can just work with it. But the good thing is because I had these little leaks in here, I can show you a technique for how you can fix it a little bit. Sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it really does not work much at all. But it's always worth trying to fix it. I can at least lighten them. So because it's watercolor, if you add water, it'll loosen up again. So I'm just going to take some water and I'm going to put it right on top of these lines and sort of break them up a little bit. I'm going to get as much loosened up on there. I'm just kind of rubbing over the top of it as much as I can. I want to try to get that paint to lift up off the paper. There's no way I'm going to get it to go back to just being white paper, but I can at least make it fade. After I do that, I take my paper towel real carefully, and I'm just going to press right on top of that water. So that looks better. That looks better already. Yeah, that's good. Let me try it on this one. On this one, the paint is still wet, so that's helpful. If it's still wet, you have a better chance of lifting it up. Get over here in this corner. I just want to be careful to only try to get the paint that's on the dandelion and not mess my background up, because the background is amazing. All right, press. Oh yeah, look at that. That's much, much, much better. I'm going to do it one more time. A little water, rub it in, try to loosen up some of that paint. Press it on there, lift up the water. Oh yeah, look, that's so much better. Much, much better. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, let's add one more technique. I think one more is going to look very cool with this whole feeling of the dandelions blowing in the breeze and all the little pieces of them getting blown off. Okay, we're going to do a splatter technique. So take a brush and you dip it in whatever color paint you want to use. I would use one that you already did. I'm using red. And then you literally just hold your paintbrush above the paper and you just tap it. And when you tap it, little specks of that paint color are going to fly off of your brush and onto the paper. This looks so good. Beautiful. Okay guys, see you later.